Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to Engineering Graphics and Solid Modeling Studio. Right away, we're going to continue from the introductory part of the series, and I will encourage that everybody gets his or her materials beside him or her and follow the teachings the way we listed it. That is only way we're going to appreciate it very well. Actually, modeling and engineering graphic takes a little while to learn, but then with your constant repetition, I think before long you'll get there. If you don't have pre-knowledge of what we're doing, don't need to bother. Just follow the steps we listed below and practice it time and time again. And few weeks to go, you'll find out that you're good to go. Now, the lecture is sectioned into different series, modules, as you can see. And the first part of it is we shall be capturing AutoCAD, followed by SolidWorks, then Fusion 360. The section D part of it is the inventor. But at this stage, we're going to start with AutoCAD, and I will encourage you that you get your system by your side. Just have announced in the class, every student that is doing this course is supposed to have system. That's the instruction from the school. And in addition to that, we have materials to fall back on. We have recommended books on that and other your practical materials. I will encourage people from engineering, especially CSET seats and SOWES and SMART, School of Information and Communication Technology and SLIT. They are doing a computer-based career. Okay, so I will encourage you take this course very serious. Another ones in SAT and everywhere. It's very very important to understand it and you get the fundamentals and take it very serious. Uh, some of my friends in engineering and CSET, SOWES and SMART, you continue building a computer even after this second semester. So it's very, very important you take what you're doing very serious. If you don't know, if you don't have pre-knowledge of computer, you don't need to worry. We're going to start from the basics. Okay. The lecture is fashioned to carry everybody along, starting from how to open file, which is common in every software. We're going to start from that level to make sure everybody is carried along. So I will encourage you uh, visit the channel time and time again. And remember, make sure you each time you watch it, send your mat number, your details, your departments. That's the only way we can capture and dissolve the doubt that you are there or you are not there. Very, very important. You go to the comment section and send your details. Now, at this stage of the lecture, we shall be looking at the section A, part A1. The section A, part A1, okay, can be taken as a module A, part A1 as well. And here we shall be looking at how do you launch into AutoCAD environment, explaining the work environment. What do we mean when we say two managers? How do we switch from the two basic drawing platforms, the 2D and the 3D? Now, before I go on, I think I told us in the class about 2D when you do your drawing on flat surface, X and Y axis. Then 3D, it's isometrically based. You're able to picture three possible components from a single view. You're able to see the X, Y, and Z uh, size of an object when viewed from a standpoint, a single point. The difference between 2D and 3D is 2D is done on a flat surface, X, Y, Y only, but 3D presents the thickness or the height of the object, and that's the standing difference. That I've discussed in the class. All right. Now, to start with, how do you launch into the environment? First and foremost, when you come to a system that you've switched on, you're going to see the desktop this way, depending on the kind of icons you have your own. But at least by default, everything is just like this without any uh, 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 without any software on. So everything will look like this. Now, you to open up AutoCAD environment, or AutoCAD software. You go by locating the icon depending on where it's installed in your system. But mine, as you can see, is on the desktop with a capital A. All you need to do is to click on it and say enter, or you double click, whichever way. All right, whichever way and that lands you into this environment. Okay, when you do that, it lands you into this environment by default. You have something like this. When you do that, you wait a little bit, it may take a little while to open, depending on the speed of your RAM and the rest of it. So it lands you in the environment like this. Now, you need to make further movement, but I always tell starters, start your setting from this stage. Now, if you look at this place, you're going to see three possible columns. All right. The first one, it says get started. The second one is recent documents. The third one has two things combined together: notification and connect. It has to the last one being the third one deals more of internet and something that has to do with online. We're not going to talk about that at this level. Now, the second column shows what recent document. Just as the name implies, you see a lot of documents. These are already existing works. So from here, you can assess these some of the works the models have done. Okay, so when I was working on your book, some of the models I've produced, and many of them if you keep listening. So this takes you to a place you can assess a file that is already in existence. All right. So that is what you do majorly on this, and the one that you open of recent. Okay, the one that are frequently in use. You can find them here. Then you have get started. This is where uh, you can start fresh work. And I always tell people you can as well open new file from here. I just had the name implied. One thing that you can do a lot of things following different routes. Okay, you can see open, but then basically you can click on this place. You can land you straight to the drawing environment. But then, as a professional, I always advise people click on this place and choose your settings. You know, I told you technical drawing is very it's characterized with dimension, scaling, and units. You don't just do things anyhow. You do things to specification. That what makes it technical drawing is it gives concise and detailed information about the object, the part of object you're drawing. Very important. And I always encourage people you start from this place. Now there are many unit choices, but I told us that you can always decide what you want to do. But most of the works would the drawings we did in this work, we base our drawing in AutoCAD ISO.DWT. I've explained that in the class. That is the one that has to do with metric, okay? The likes of millimeter, centimeter, and the rest of them. We also have ACAD.DWT when we are dealing with uh, uh, feet, inches, and the likes. So there are many other options in terms of them units, but then it all depends on the objective and what you want per time. But at least it's for real. You can get them from here. So when you select ISO.DWT, it lands you in okay, let's just do it. You click on it. Now it takes you to fresh environment. Okay. Yeah, it lands you into environment like this. Okay. It lands you into environment like this where you can do your work. All right. Now I want to start from this basics before we proceed to other working environment. Now it lands you in an environment like this, and that presents you this black place you're seeing is called in most software they call it the canvas. This is where you do all your drawings. Okay, this place I'm setting all the this black rectangle you're seeing here. You can do all your drawings here. Then at the top we have your ribbon. This is where your tools are embedded. You know, I told us in the parts in the B part of this section, we're talking about the explain the work environment. Now, this is where you do your drawing, this entire rectangle, the black environment. You do all your graphics here, okay? Everywhere, your write up, whatever on this plate. It can be changed another color. Anyway, I will do that as time goes on. Now, on the top of it, you have your ribbon. This is the place you have your tools embedded. Basically, it's grouped under tabs, and tabs are further sectioned into panels. Now see the tabs here. You have for now we are on home tab. You can click on each and every one of them to know what they contain. The best way to know what is there is for you to click on them. You see, as you click, you notice changes. These are the tab keys. And I always tell you the most important tab key is the home key. Why? It contains the drawing tools and the modified tools. Very, very important. It contains the drawing tools and the modified tools. Annotate. At your level, we're going to stop most of our teachings uh, in a home tab, considering the draw panel, modify panel, and annotate panel. When we get there, we'll introduce more of what they contain. Now, by default, this is 2D working environment. You can always do your drawing here on a flat surface. It doesn't have the tool that will help you to work in 3D. So this is purely what? 2D environment. Now, the next part of our lecture is switching from 2D to 3D. How do you do that? Very, very easy. Assuming you want to do your 3D modeling and you want to leave from here, because by default, computer lands you from here, except you've done past work and saved it, you can go back. But then if it's just fresh starting, you're going to land on 2D. But how do you go about the 3D? Because 2D is limited with tools. There's some tools you cannot find here, as many your intention is to do 3D modeling. So how do you go about that? You come to this cursor pointer here, the setting. You click, you go to 3D modeling, as you can see it. When you click on it, you have a little patience. It takes time to unfold. Now, watching it, you're going to notice something. Yeah, you can see it. There's a change now. Now, we are still on, how do you notice the change? We are still on home tab, but you find out that the panels have changed. The first panel in 2D is draw, but here you're having modeling. The second panel in 2D is modify, but here you're having mesh. The third panel there is annotate, but they have your solid editing. So why? Because we're different environment altogether. So this is how to switch from 2D to 3D. Very important. Now, what do you want? How do you want to go back? Go back to the same place, click on this, and have a little patience. It will take you back to where we're coming from. So this is all about the environment, moving from 2D to 3D. And I know it's not a problem to you. And I told you, even if you don't have pre-knowledge of this, the lecture is fashioned in such a way to carry everybody along. So all you need to do, get your book by your side, get your laptop, then switch on your video. You have the choice to play time and time again until you get mastery to what we're discussing. Now you can know how to launch to any kind of environment. I told us how to do that by clicking on the icon on the desktop. Yeah, when you click on the icon on the desktop, you have a little patience. How do you do that? You click, you select, then say enter, or double click on the icon, whichever way it will land into the environment. Then after then, you, of course, you know the working environment. This is where you do your drawing. This black place is where you do your drawing, as I've explained. This is where you do your drawing. Then I've told us the tools. We have where the tools are embedded in what we call ribbons, okay? And ribbons are sectioned in tabs and panels. I told us this is the most important panel. I will ask you in your comment box the home panel because it contains what? The draw, the home tab, it contains the draw panel, the modify panel, annotate, and properties and the likes. We're going to discuss. Now, how do you assess what each and every one of them carries? By clicking on them. When you click inside, it changes. You click on annotate, it changes. And parametric, I will explain this as time goes on. But at your level, at this stage of the lecture, very important. Home tab is the most important tool manager, very important. It contains your what? Your drawing tools. And another thing I want to say is, how do you assess tools in that are not displayed? By clicking on the drop beside the icon. As you can see, when you click it, it drops more tools. That's how to assess it. Now, in summary, draw panel is a noun tool. Why? Because you can see it, you can feel it, you can draw it. But modify is an action-based tools. Why? You may not see it, but you see the actions. Okay, like move, copy, array, chamfer, scale, stretch. They are all action-based words. Is that okay? But the draw menu is, there are things you can see. You can see a line, you can see polyline, you can see circle, and the rest of them. Now, these three columns here I want to mention now mean that the other things that are there to assess it, you have to click on them. That's what I'm going to stop for now. Thank you very much.